Well, it wasn't impossible to put on, but it was tricky. I think the difficulty was when you put a seal of silicone or whatever sealer it is, it squidges out everywhere, and it also, if it'll get onto your Cleco clips, so clean these off with brake cleaner before you put them back in the box, otherwise they'll be solid and then they'll be no good. So that bit's done, all the caulking's done. Always handy to have a can of brake cleaner kicking about, just to tidy up, just to wipe around, make sure it's all nice and neat. Next thing, well, we'll have a look at the book and see what it says. I'm still seeing little bits of caulking that's sticking out there. I saw a bit there just on the top. I want to get it off before it's dry. It's my finger mark. I've got finger marks on it. See what I mean? Comes off easy enough, but you don't want it setting because it's a nice satin finishing. Right. Take a break, then we'll come back. Well, as you can see, I've taken off the protective coating now that we've got all the sealer in. Next stage is to put the legs on. Get the book of words and see what it says. So we've done that bit. It's kind of easy to clean up if you use a bit of brake cleaner and some superfine wire wool or a superfine Scotch-Brite. Comes up quite nice. Now, I'll tell you something, getting that protective coating off took a little while. There must be a technique for it somewhere. Right, so let me see. Now loosely attach the legs to the cabinet with the bolts provided. Now fit the braces between the legs as shown. There are 3 braces, all identical. All these sides and front back as an angle to the top of it. Right. Well, I've already taken the coatings off. What remains? Is this a back leg or a front leg? Fit in there. What does he mean? Oh, wait a minute, there's supposed to be a front panel goes in there. This is confusing. Where do these go? Right, so there's 2 slotted holes here. 2 slotted holes there. Is that how that goes? Maybe. See, there's look, this must be the front. This one must be the front because it's got a notch out here for the Airlines, and also there's a front panel to go on. So these are the 2 here. So this must be that is that one. So we'll get some nuts and bolts out. We'll start to bolt the legs on. Now, with all the legs in place and all loose, but the bolts, like I said, they're in the holes. It seems to be that there's 3 channels the same, the back, the left and the right, but the front has got a small angle on it, you know, so because you have to put your foot under there for the foot pedal. So I think that's okay. I think now it's because it's getting bigger and bigger now. I think it's time to put it on the floor so it can level itself up, and then we can tighten the bolts up. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do without doing ourselves a mischief, because it is getting big now. Right, let's do that then. So there you are, it's on the floor. All we've got to do now is tighten up the bolts. It's good this, because I know this floor is perfectly level. Tighten up the bolts, then we'll see what's the next stage. I think we've got to caulk around those bolts to make sure they're not going to get wet, water leaking. And then I think it's time to proceed to put the fittings on. But that's just a quick walk around to show you what it looks like. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat how it all goes together. Personally, I don't think I would have put the tap on first, you know, on the filter. I would have put that last, because it does hinder you a little bit when you're rolling it around on the bench, and a bench that you can walk all the way around is a real bonus. I don't think doing it on the floor would do much good. Anyway, let's tighten it up. I made a bit of a mistake. I put that piece upside down, and you can see now it all blends in with that 45-degree angle. I've also put the infill piece in. The big hole goes to the right, nearest the door. But apart from that, it's all bolted up. Now, I did have a bit of a problem with those bolts at the back. So what I did was I grabbed hold of them with a pair of vice grips, because you just can't reach them. Needs two. So let's have a look at the book and see what it says next. So the next thing, we take these rings that go through, you put your arms through, and we're going to put, there's a piece with a piece of 3M sticky back stuff on there, but we're going to put some caulking around this edge here, and then we're going to rivet them onto the front. I'll get them prepped up and then we'll rivet them on. Right, I'm going to use an awl to see if I can line up the rings. So we're going to put just an awl through there so we can get the top one lined up. That's that one in. And now we're going to take a packet. There is a packet of long pop rivets we mentioned, and that's what these do. These are for holding this ring on. So the air riveter fired up, and we're going to start to put them in opposite directions, if you see what I mean. I'll get those in and then we'll come back. The next thing it says is to put the gloves on. Well, I tell you something, I'm not going to put the gloves on yet because I think they'll just get in the way. So I'm going to skip that stage and we're going to now fit the glass. Well, the perspex or plexiglass using some channels. Here's the channels, so they go here, like this. So I think we have to put the rubber seal in first. We'll work it out. I don't know, it's a bit vague. What's it say? Fit the window seal to the edge of the steel cabinet frame opening and then bolt both window strips in place using secure the window. Oh, use M5 10mm bolts. That's what the short ones were for. Let's do that. Right, this is the window seal. We'll put the joint. Where should we put the joint? At the top or the bottom? Tough call, isn't it? I think we'll put it at the top. It's tipped. Yeah, it's better. We might have to roll this to go on, especially in the corners. Yeah, that's nice. First of all, we're going to make sure that's all gone into those corners. That's it. That looks nice. Now, just like fitting Land Rover windows, we're just going to cut this a little bit longer so it butts together. So I'll go and get some snippers. Right, that's the screen bolted in. Start in the middle and work out. Nice and tight. The nice thing is that this isn't like toughened glass or anything like that, so if it does get scratched or damaged, it's kind of easy to replace because it's just like Perspex plexiglass. It's not that expensive. So that's that bit done. The next bit, we've got to pop rivet on the control box. That's kind of easy. Just goes on the side here. And there's 4 pop rivet holes already on. So let me get that on. Next we have to put the pump in. Place sump pump in the sump as shown below. That looks easy. Let's go and get the pump. So I've got the pump in, and there's a gland here with 2 pop rivet places on there. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of silicone, or this, whatever sealer this is, job done, I've never heard of it. Construction sealant and adhesive. I'm just going to use my regular caulking gun for that because I'm constantly now switching between the Airline and the pop rivet gun for the caulking gun. So I'll just put a bit of beer on here. There we go. Sorry for showing me back, but never mind. And then we'll get the pop rivet gun. And pop rivet that plate on. Taking the tangents out as well. That's good. We'll just get a cloth and take off any sealer off the cable. And then once we're happy with that, once we're happy with the length of the cable, then we can tighten up the gland nut. It's a bit tricky, but we don't know how long this is going to be. So I'm going to leave it for now. And I've connected it to the other side to the control box. Now this is where it gets a bit bizarre. Place sump pump in the sump as shown below. I've done that. Now I'm just wondering what's happening here. It says here, it looks as if this one's got 2 wires to go to a float switch, but this one hasn't got a float switch. I wonder what's going on there. Am I missing something out? Anyway, see what it says on the next page. Connect the airline and water feed pipes as shown. The airline goes to the back of the gun from the cabinet. The water line goes to the bottom of the gun from the pump. That's easy enough, let's get that set up. I'm a little bit confused as to what they mean about fastening the airline through, because there's a flange there with 3 holes in. They're not a flange but a drilling in the cabinet, and then there's one next to it. Well, we have here, where I put it down somewhere, where did I put it? Here. We've got a fitting like this. Now I'm not sure if that goes through the bulkhead or not, but it's got an airline on it, so it looks like it, but it doesn't go through the hole. So I'm kind of wondering what this actually does. I think what I might just do is study this a bit more, but carry on with what else it's saying on the next page. So we can jump forward a little bit, because we can always work it out. Oh, it says here, look here, now we can put the light in. Oh, we'll put the light in, that's easy, isn't it? The next thing I'm going to do is put the exhaust flange on. This goes on here. I'll put a little bit of sealer on it. There's a cutout in it, and that goes at the bottom. Like that, look. Easy. Pop rivet that on. The next item we're going to assemble is the regulator and the solenoid on the front, as shown in this picture here. couple of things to note. Put some Teflon tape on the gauge provided, and there's a nut behind here. Don't turn it by, everybody sort of turns them tight by the cover. No, turn them there. It's 7/16 or 11mm. Then you've got a fitting that goes into here. Alright, I'm going to have to tighten that down. Now the solenoid, the actual solenoid fitting itself might be pointing the wrong way. So simply get a 14mm nut, spanner, and turn it around. You know, you can just undo that, spin it around. I've got to put another fitting into there, and then I think there's a place to run the wire here or here. I'm not really sure. On the design, it shows us a cutout in the top, but I think this might go around the back. I'm not sure. We'll work it. Let me play around with it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Right. So what you've got to do is pop rivet the bracket on first. Take your regulator. Shove it up, and then put the ring on. The reason for that is that you can't get to the pop rivets with the bracket on. Yeah, I guess that's what they've done here. Just let me get a pair of snippers. They've put a hole, instead of having it going over the top, they've got a neater hole in the back here for the wiring to go through. That through there, all the way through. That's better. And then we'll tighten up this ring. Doesn't have to be monster tight. It's only plastic. And we'll take the cable. Using the connector, we're going to put it into the air solenoid, auxiliary screen solenoid. Air solenoid, that's the one. So we'll plug it into the side here. Number 3. Now these plugs will only go in one way, so that's nice. You can't get the pins in the wrong way around. So that's that bit taken care of. Next bit's the airlines. Now this is a little bit confusing because I'm not really sure where they go. I think we're going to have to do this by trial and error because I think the instructions for a different model. We've got everything done on that page here. Now they're saying put the door on. I'm not going to put the door on yet until we get it finished. Ah, now this starts to make some sense. Because this came with a... Oh, wait a minute, here. This is regulator assembly. Connect the regulator. We've got that. Please not use machine. Oh, I see. It's got a screen wash attachment to it. Here. A little bracket there with a short hose going from the top out the back. Ah, this makes sense. There's the little pump there. So let's put that on, and then process of elimination, we'll find out where it goes. And then once we're all finished, we'll walk around it, we'll have a look and try and make things a bit clearer. Aha, this makes sense now. The other day when we were looking at this pump, didn't know what it did. Well, there's the bracket, and there's all the fittings for it. Well, let's get that fitted on. So we'll spin the machine round and have a look at that. And then we can work out where all the air pipes and things like that go. Yes, this makes sense. Because this little kit here has got all the hoses on for the screen wash. And that's the hose we need. Yeah. That there. So we put the bracket on. This is the bracket. We're going to mount the jet and the hose, and then it'll come out at the back here. Maybe comes out of here. Starting to make sense now. This is where the pump fits, here. Ideally you should have fitted this before you fitted the leg, because you can't really get in to put the nuts in. So I simply cheated by putting captive nuts in, because I like cheating. If at first you don't succeed, cheat. These are just to say long enough. I might be tempted to put some longer ones in. Let me fasten this up and we'll get back to the piping.